They will never hand it to you. Not the freedom, not the wealth, not the respect. You must tear it from the jaws of indifference. You must rise before the sun, push when others pause, believe when no one sees. Because legacy is not found, it is forged in the fires of discipline, in the furnace of risk, in the silence between failure and your next move. The world is not waiting for another dreamer, but it is waiting for someone who builds. The empire you envision will not arrive by accident. No fortune ever did. Rockefeller didn't stumble into power. He hunted it with ruthless precision. Henry Ford didn't just revolutionize industry. He built a system that multiplied every second of his mind. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't ask for reassurance. They didn't bend to the doubts of lesser men, and neither will you. You see, there comes a moment in every entrepreneur's life, a sacred, soul-wrenching moment, when you either shatter under the weight of your excuses or you rise. Bleeding, exhausted, defiant, you rise. Not because it's easy, but because the mission is bigger than your comfort. Because the hunger inside you has grown louder than the fear. That hunger is the seed of greatness. But it only grows when fed with belief. And belief, my friend, is not just a feeling. It is a weapon. You must believe in your vision when it's still invisible to others. You must believe in your value before anyone will pay for it. You must believe you are capable of bending reality to your will, not because it's guaranteed, but because it's necessary. The greats knew this. James Allen wrote, "You are today where your thoughts have brought you. You will be tomorrow where your thoughts take you." That's not poetry, that's architecture. Your mind is the blueprint. Your thoughts are the steel beams. Every empire begins in the invisible. Every fortune begins in the abstract, an idea, a spark, a gut feeling. But those who build twice. First in vision, then in action. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Your word is your wand. What you speak, with faith and clarity, you shape." This is not mysticism. This is mental warfare. Because the first war every entrepreneur fights is within. The war between the voice that says you can't and the one that whispers you must. And when that whisper grows louder than the world's doubts, you become unstoppable. But belief alone is not enough. Vision is not enough. You must wield clarity like a blade. You must know exactly what you are building, not in vague wishes, but in sharp, measurable purpose. Dale Carnegie said, "An hour of planning can save you 10 hours of doing." But most people skip the planning. They rush into noise. They confuse motion with momentum. They chase 10 things and catch none, not you. You are not here to be busy. You are here to be brutally effective. You are not here to be liked. You are here to lead. You are not here to wish. You are here to will. Because clarity is not optional. It is the oxygen of execution. Without it, you drown in distraction. With it, you become a force of nature. So ask yourself right now, what am I really building? And what am I willing to endure to make it real? Because that answer will define your future more than any strategy. Vision without sacrifice is fantasy. And purpose without pain is a lie. You must marry your mission. Bleed for it. Stand by it when nothing is working. And if you do, if you keep showing up, keep thinking sharper, keep moving cleaner, something miraculous happens. You stop reacting to the world and start reshaping it. Discipline is how it begins. Discipline is not punishment. It is power in motion. It is how Ford built an empire of precision from the chaos of steel and labor. It is how Buffett compiles billions, not in sudden wins, but in compound decisions. Day after day, year after year. While others crave the thrill, The successful crave the process. Understand this. The elite do not wait to feel like it. They act. They do not negotiate with distractions. They execute. The world gives in to fatigue. The entrepreneur rewrites his limits. The world watches the clock. The builder becomes it. Discipline is the bridge between vision and manifestation. It's showing up when the world sleeps. Practicing when no one claps. Building when nothing is selling. Discipline is how you become worthy of the results you desire. Because the marketplace will never reward what you want. It rewards what you've earned. And what you've earned is forged in the dark, where no one sees, where no one praises, where most give up, but not you. Because inside, you is an iron will, dormant, maybe, but alive, waiting. You are not made for mediocrity. You were not designed for the comfort zone. You were born to lead, to solve, to serve at scale. That means acting when you're unsure, moving when the path is unclear, launching when the product isn't perfect. Action is the language of power, not hesitation, not analysis. Action. Rockefeller didn't wait for oil prices to stabilize. He bought, refined, dominated. He moved. Entrepreneurs do not wait for permission. They create the terms. They write the rules. They build the damn table if they're not invited to one. Why? Because action cures fear. It silences doubt. It breathes life into stagnant visions. And yet, action without alignment is chaos. You must lead yourself first, before you lead a team. Lead your habits, before you scale a company. Scale your discipline, before you demand excellence from the world. Demand it from your own reflection. Leadership is not charisma. It is character under pressure, that is showing up when you could. Coast, standing tall when everything's falling apart. It's the calm in the storm, the voice that says, "We are not done yet." Henry Ford didn't just build cars. He built a new way to think, a new way to move. That is leadership, changing the very conditions of society through vision. And you are not just building a business. You are building a philosophy, one decision at a time. But leadership is not crowned at the moment of success. It is carved in solitude. It is shaped when you hold the line, when you fight for standards no one sees, when you chase truth over comfort. You cannot inspire others if your life is a contradiction. You cannot lead people to greatness while being enslaved to your own weaknesses. You must conquer yourself first. The empire begins inside. It begins with mastery of your time, your emotions, your decisions. Warren Buffett said it simply, "Chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken. So break them now. Break the addiction to distraction. Break the need for approval. Break the myth that you need more time. You need more focus. Because what you do consistently will one day become your identity. And your identity will become your destiny." But leadership is only part of the equation. If you are to build something that lasts, something that outlives you, you must become a master of investment, not just in markets, not just in assets, but in everything: time, energy, attention, relationships, learning. The greats didn't just make money. They compounded wisdom. Rockefeller reinvested ruthlessly into infrastructure, into efficiency, into power. Buffett didn't gamble. He waited, watched, and struck with precision. They understood what most never will. That wealth is not a sprint. It is strategy, discipline, and leverage over time. And you must learn to think the same way. Everything you do is an investment. Every hour you waste is compound interest, lost. Every decision you delay is a dividend you'll never see. Every mediocre habit you allow is a silent tax on your future. The entrepreneur's mind must become surgical, analytical, obsessed with ROI, not just of dollars, but of days, of discipline, of direction. You are not just building income. You are building indestructible wealth. Wealth that can withstand recessions. Wealth that outlasts trends. Wealth that is rooted in value. And value is only created when you solve real problems at scale with relentless excellence. But to do that, to rise through the noise, you must embrace what most. Avoid pain. Because pain is the crucible of transformation. It will test your vision. It will question your why. It will burn away your excuses and demand evidence. Evidence that you are not just playing entrepreneur, that you are not just addicted to potential, that you are, in fact, the real deal. The world doesn't need another optimist. It needs a builder with scars. And if you're bleeding, good. You've failed, good. If you've doubted yourself, good, because that means you're in the arena. That means you're not hiding behind theory. That means you are becoming the person worthy of the empire you seek. Resilience is not toughness. It is wisdom. It is learning to bend, not break, to pivot when the market shifts, to rebuild when the storm hits, to stand when the world expects you to fall. James Allen said, "The oak sleeps in the acorn, but it only grows through storms, through droughts, through seasons of nothingness." That is you. You are the seed, buried maybe, but never broken. The storm is not your enemy. It is your forge, because when you are tested, you are tempered. Every failure, a lesson. Every setback, a sharpening. Every disappointment, a redirection toward mastery. The entrepreneur does not fear chaos. He orchestrates it. He harnesses pressure like fuel. He understands that greatness is not found in the light. It is forged in the shadows. When no one claps, when no one believes, when it's just you and your commitment. But there is one more tool, one more edge. The greats carry that few ever cultivate. Gratitude, not the soft, polite kind, but the warrior's gratitude, the kind that lets you see opportunity in the struggle, the kind that gives you peace in the process, the kind that lets you say, thank you, even for the trials, because they're making you unbreakable. Gratitude is not weakness. It is power in disguise. It centers you, grounds you. It reminds you that even as you build the empire, you are already rich, rich in time, in choice, in the fire that won't die. Rockefeller walked with gratitude for the discipline he was taught young. Ford gave thanks for every failed prototype because they carved his clarity. Buffett lives by the principle of appreciating what most overlook: time, people, purpose. And when you carry gratitude in one hand and ambition in the other, you become unstoppable. But you must stay fluid, because the game changes, markets shift, trends fade, algorithms break. What worked yesterday may kill you tomorrow. Adaptability is not optional. It is survival. You must be willing to reinvent, to outthink, to move faster and smarter than the storm. The entrepreneur is not married to a method. He is married to the mission. And missions require evolution. The dinosaurs had strength, but not adaptability. That's why they vanished. Kodak had dominance, but not vision. That's why they collapsed. The moment you stop evolving, you start dying. So study relentlessly. Test constantly. Question everything. Build a mind sharper than your competitor's will to win. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Intuition is a spiritual faculty and does not explain, but simply points the way." You must learn to trust your edge, but sharpen it with wisdom. Because instinct without information is gambling, but instinct fused with knowledge is domination. The future belongs to those who think fast, act decisively, and never fall in love with their comfort zone. You must be willing to become someone entirely new, again and again. You must outgrow your past versions with ruthless urgency. That is what it means to forge your legacy. Not inherit it, not wait for it, but to forge it daily, hourly, minute by minute, decision by decision, in the fire of adversity and the light of unwavering purpose. And when the world asks, who built this? Let them see your fingerprints in every brick. Let them hear your soul in every product, every system, every dollar earned not by chance, but by design. And one day you'll look back, not with regret, but with reverence. You'll remember the days no one clapped, the nights no one saw, the mornings you got up without motivation, without momentum, without a guarantee, and moved anyway. You'll remember the sacrifice not as suffering, but as sacred. You'll see it clearly then, every sleepless night, every failed product, every ounce of doubt wasn't punishment. It was the process of becoming. You weren't just building a company. You weren't just chasing profit. You were forging your soul into steel. You were becoming a force that could no longer be ignored. You were building something that would outlast you because you chose not to quit. You chose to believe when it was irrational, to act when it was terrifying, to stand when every voice told you to sit down. You became the storm. You became the signal in the noise. You became the standard. And make no mistake, you are the standard. Not your product, not your pitch. Your mindset is your margin. Your discipline is your capital. Your execution is your equity. The world isn't investing in your idea. It's investing in your resolve. And if that resolve is bulletproof, then so is your future. So don't you dare play small. Don't you dare dull your edges to fit in with mediocrity. The crowd will never understand the intensity it takes to build what only 1% ever dare pursue. But you weren't born for the crowd. You were born for conquest. Quiet, steady, principled conquest. Over doubt, over apathy, over everything inside you that still craves comfort over calling. This is your calling. To solve, to serve, to scale. Your impact until it touches generations. Until your last name is no longer just a name, but a symbol of what's possible. That's what legacy means. It is not fame. It is not followers. It is the echo of your excellence long after you've gone. It is a child reading your story and daring to dream. It is a team still thriving on the values you taught. That is wealth not just of dollars, but of wisdom, integrity, and fire, passed down like a torch. And that fire begins now. When you launch. Not when you go viral. Not when your first million arrives. It begins now, in the next choice, the next thought, the next sacrifice. You make for something bigger than your own ego. You don't need motivation. You need remembrance. Remember why you started. Remember who you said you'd become. Remember the nights you cried, the jobs you hated, the bosses who never saw your worth, the hunger that burned in you before the world knew your name. That hunger is still there. Feed it, but feed it with purpose. With conviction, with ruthless consistency. The journey is brutal, but you are not fragile. You are forged. In doubt, but unbroken. In silence, but seen by the future. In failure, but undefeated. Because every moment you choose growth over comfort, every time you take the hard road instead of the easy win, every time you act with integrity in a world drunk on shortcuts, you are writing a line in the story of your legacy. And what a story it will be. The one who started with nothing, but refused to stay there. The one who rose not by chance, but by choice, again and again. The one who didn't need applause to know they were worthy. The one who fell 7 times and stood up 8. The one who forged their legacy with Anne. Iron will. So rise. Not tomorrow. Not next quarter. Now. Because this is the moment history begins to remember your name. not for your talent, not for your charm dot, but for your decision. The decision to become the kind of entrepreneur the world only sees once in a generation, not because it was easy, but because it was yours to become. And you did.